Right now, when you go to a street, you realize that it's essentially been designed with the motor vehiclist in mind, and everyone else is an afterthought.
Pune, once upon a time, it was called as the cycling capital of India. I mean, it was one of the biggest places. The maximum number of bicycles in Asia used to be in Pune. Once upon a time.
There's 88 kilometers of cycle tracks in Pune, and nobody uses them because they're unusable. They've been designed very badly, which is to say they haven't been designed at all. I mean, it was a mandatory requirement to build cycle tracks for the money that the federal government gave to the city, and so they built them. But they didn't really care if they worked or didn't work, or they were continuous, or the material was bad, or they were dug up. It was just good enough to report back to the federal government saying, yes, you said build cycle tracks, we built the cycle tracks. We go out and ask school children, do you ride a cycle? Yes, no. If you ride it, what are the issues that you face? If you don't, would you like to ride a cycle? And why don't you ride a cycle? Most of the times you got the answers that my parents don't allow me to ride a cycle, but I would love to.
I could be the sunlight in your eyes, could I? Squinting at the sun up in the sky, could I? Could I?
Ferguson College, where you are studying, at one time had huge bicycle parking stands, and all the students would come on bicycle.
30 years back.
In my entire class, probably one guy had a motorcycle. One guy. If somebody comes on bicycle, they think either he's from a poor family that he can't afford, or that he's a cranky guy who's not with the rest of the society. That's how it looks like to the others.
In early 80s it changed to motorcycles because motorcycle companies came in vogue and they started promoting motorcycles, creating an impression that cycle is not necessarily very a safe vehicle. It's slow, it doesn't take you fast to the destinations, and motorcycle is very useful. So that way they tried to kill the image of cycling, and they were successful to a certain extent. And the idea of all this group we are trying to do is to bring the glory of cycling back to the city. That's the idea.
each house must have at least one bicycle. And ambition thing is it should be equal to auto vehicle. For each auto vehicle, at least there should be one bicycle.
Yeah.
Then it will be wide based.
See, right now we are going through the phase of growth in this country. So everybody is aspirational. I want to buy a car, I want to buy a bigger car, I want to have 3. So everybody looks at the cyclist as a kind of second-class citizen.
There is a certain segment of people who, being health conscious, have moved to cycles. But you know, they weave it into the day as part of, you know, everything else they do. I don't know how many of them would be actually relying on the cycle as a means of transportation. They'd have to be a little nuts in the head, frankly. See, this particular tube has at least 7-8 band-aids of this nature.
Michael!
ठीक आहे आपण नवीन आणू बाईक आणू
This story is about Pune and the bicycle. Before thoughts of material worth and status, the bicycle was purely functional and found its joy and beauty in that function. Today, the cyclist is someone who can afford the luxury of cycling, or, more often than not, someone who can't afford not to. Pune has grown, no longer a sleepy university town, nor a garrison town sprawling over many acres. It now has some stake in the economic fate of India and the world. This growth has left more people with a choice made for one's health, environment, street safety, in short, one's city, to bicycle or not to bicycle.